Message received at 3:27 p.m. January 12 from 78851.
Hey, Pete. This is Don. How you doing, buddy? Look, I just wanted to tell you the car's back home, and it looks fucking great. Absolutely beautiful, man. I want to thank you again and again, and I made a quick video, although the video sucks when my camera's out in the sun, you know, but I did post a video of Leo dropping it off, and it's absolutely fucking gorgeous. You know, I mean, it's just beyond words. It's beautiful. I just want to tell you, you did a terrific job. I wanted to talk to you. I guess, you know, with being it's Sunday, you're probably home or, you know. But anyway, I just wanted to call you, okay, buddy? All right, have a good one. Later.
End of message. To repeat this message, press 1. Message deleted.
Fuck. What a fucking nightmare this is gonna be here. This is a fucking mess is what we got. And before we go any further, I want to explain to everybody out there that's watching this video set, I want you to know that if you are in the process of restoring a vehicle and you are in the process of trying to do it at home, like my friend Pete's showing you how to do, I just want to let you know one thing. This job right here, this is an extreme restoration. This is a restoration that basically requires professional help. Because if you fuck something up on this situation right here, if something gets fucked up on this deal, the whole car is fucked up. There's times that you should do something on your own, and there's times that you should require professional help to guide you through and to do the work for you. Don't get fucked in the ass by the fucking cocksucker out there that thinks he has a fucking shop and that thinks he's God's gift to fucking muscle cars and is gonna charge you $400 fucking an hour. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, to save your fucking ass from getting the stick in the fucking ass. We get down to the situation of a job like this. And this car is dismantled to the point that if you don't look very closely, you don't even know what the fuck you are looking at. Look at this situation right here. We got this brace that is basically behind the dash panel, and then you got another brace coming off of the dash panel, and then you got your window post that's attached to the roof all mangled and fucked up. You got your fucking torque boxes that need to be replaced. The firewall on this car is going to be replaced. This rocker panel from front to back. I can't even see where the rocker panel ends over here. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you see the situation we got? We're going to buy brand new, complete, already made strut tower, fender, shock fucking tower, whatever the fuck you want to call it, sides. If you look at the hole in that box right there, you can see that's a complete floor. That right there is a very, very expensive piece. That's a complete full floor panel that we're going to install in this vehicle. So what happens to all this stuff? What happens to this that the owner purchased, paid good fucking money for it? What's going to happen to it? More than likely, what's going to happen to it? It's going to go in the scrap iron pile. That's the situation you have when you're dealing with a fucking mess like the mess we got, which is our 1968 Mustang. One more thing when you're doing a job like this, do not dismantle anything off the front area of your vehicle before you get all the parts in. If you remove all this stuff and you're waiting on your parts to get here, you are going to be in a shithole of trouble because you won't know how all this shit goes back together precisely like it's supposed to. That's a good tech tip point, is do not remove anything off of the front end of the vehicle that's major structural fucking metal until all the parts are sitting here waiting for you to replace them. I'm going to the sandblasters. I'll see you in a few.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Alright, how y'all doing out there? We're back on our Mustang after taking a break for a couple weeks because we've been waiting on parts to get her. Now we got the floor here, but we don't have none of the other parts, but we got to get ready and prepared so when they do get here, we're ready to go ahead and start installing them instead of waiting around. What we're looking at is we're going to replace this whole front section. That means I'm going to remove this whole piece from the vehicle. And then the owner has went ahead and purchased both left and right inner fender well structures. We got a brand new core support outside, and then the strut arm brackets, you might call them, down inside here. We're going to replace those as well. But before we do that, we are going to go ahead and jig this bitch up to make sure that when we put everything back together, and when I say back together, I'm talking about all the parts I just mentioned are separate. That means that the core support is separate from the inner fender wells, and the braces on the bottom here are separate from both pieces as well. Now we still got to remove all the front suspension, we already know that, but the main thing that we have to do right now is build us a structural jig. Now when I say that, I'm going to take some metal angle iron and some metal bars, square tubing, and I'm going to go ahead and jig this up before I remove it from the car, because once I remove this from the car, then it's going to be all flimsy. We're going to lose our measurements, this, that, and the other. But there's one more thing we got to do before we even do all that, and that is to make sure that the car is sitting perfectly level on the ground. Now, anybody that's just catching up here and hasn't watched the other videos, I just want to explain that. We have removed all this area here, and we started to remove this area, then it led into this area, then it led into this area, then it led into removing the floor, and now it's led into removing the whole front end. So what we've done here, we went ahead and temporarily braced this up so it won't move and twist on us, but we're going to go ahead and brace this one more time once we get everything level. So we'll go ahead and jack the back end of the car up. We want to take the weight off the suspension and put all the weight onto the rocker panels, you might say. And now the car is sitting more level and more solid than it was before. Now before we go any further on the vehicle itself, we want to go ahead and balance the back end of the car out. And we're going to work our way to the front and get it level. So what we'll do is we'll take the string edge off of our piece of square tubing, just like that, and then we'll be able to read to see if it's going to be level or not using our level and to read it from left to right. And it looks like the level is reading level right there. Has to go up just a hair. So we'll go ahead and jack our rocker panel up on this side. So I'm going to take 2 paint sticks. Actually, I took one and cut it in half. And then what I'll do is I'll stick it under the jack stand here, between the car and the jack stand. And this is kind of a tricky situation because you definitely don't want to get your fingers stuck in there and pinched. So be very careful when doing this job. And now the car should be sitting level in the back of the vehicle. Now that the back end is level, we want to go ahead and move ourselves to the front of the vehicle. Now, the situation that we have is we're going to be taking all of this off, if you remember right. So what we want to do is we basically want to concentrate on leveling the main body of the car more than the front of the vehicle itself. I want you to pay close attention and understand that this is just a temporary situation here, putting the jack there. We are literally going to go ahead and add some metal to this area here to hold all this together, and then we'll put a jack under that once we get some angle iron there. But until then, we have got to get this where it's pretty level to get it where we want it to be. All right, now we'll go ahead and measure it again. That says 43. That says 43. Our main objective right now is to get that jack stand on the outside of that rail there, get it off that rail and onto the rocker panel area. So let me go get some angle iron. We're going to get that welded up and we'll be back. All right, I went ahead and cut out some 2x2 square angular tubing. And what we're going to do is we're going to weld a brace across here to hold all this together, and then we'll probably go ahead and replace this brace down here, but we'll still leave this here because we still got a lot of shit going on. As you can see, it's confusing. It's a confusing situation, but my friend Pete's gonna fucking do it. Because my friend Pete does not fucking give up, and it will fucking be done. And as I'm doing this, this is basically where the theory comes in of thinking power. You got to have thinking power when doing a job like this. It's very, very important to think and get your knowledge before you react. We got a special guest today. His name is Dr. Dildo. He is a very, very knowledgeable guy in the field of doctorness, and he is going to explain how you use your brain to think before you react. Let me get this welded up while you are watching Dr. Dildo, and he is explaining to you what the fuck thinking power is all about.
Molecular structure and microbiological scientifically tells us that life itself is there for us to examine, if you know what I mean. When I say life itself, we're talking about the human body. We're talking about the structural, intelligent use of what our body does. Take the simple rubber band, for instance. The rubber band is a very, very diabolically structural piece of equipment that is used on a daily basis. The rubber band is useful not just to take and play with and shoot at other people, but is used in many, many, many different structural designs of what it is used for. 1 minute, please. The power of thinking is not just the reality of using the brain itself, but of using it in the way that will help us decide what is right and what is wrong. I have some specimens here we would like to study, and we will study them very good, so you can get the understanding of what thinking power can do for you. I'm sorry. Thinking power is what we're talking about. It's using our brain at the molecular structure of the diabolical plasmidic statistical rhythm of life that it takes to use the brain and take it to the extent of actually doing something besides sitting there and watching this stupid fucking video. It takes a special type of systematic conjunction, you might call it, to use together to form the pattern of thinking, to use the ability of taking the thinking power itself and combining. Do you understand what I mean? Yes. Now we are getting somewhere. I have specimens today I would like to show you to determine and to explain in detail what the thinking power of thinking really is. I have an old friend of mine here. We call him Jawbone. Yes, Jawbone is the Jawbone guy, and he said we could borrow his brain to look inside, to filtrate the system to the extent of what it takes to use the left side to control the right side and the right side to control the left side. And let's go ahead and crack the egg open and look at the brain and study the brain and decide if the brain is actually working properly. I'm sorry. Yes, the brain. We got to get the brain to work properly. So we will crack the egg open and look into the brain. What the hell? What do we have here? This is not the brain we were thinking of. This is the salad head brain. This is an example of a doofus brain, you might say, from somewhere that people really don't think properly. What we have here that does the thinking power for them is a nice ripe pear that looks like it's getting ready to spoil on us. I'm gonna have to eat that today. And a bag of baby carrots. They're not even full-grown carrots, they're little baby carrots. This is not the right specimen that I wanted to show you today, because this is basically telling you how not to use your brain. And you're not Jawbones. You're stupid ass is what you are. You're Dumbo. This is Dumbo, Jawbone. This is not the... Let me get the other specimen. That was the wrong one. We were talking about actually using your brain to your fullest extent, not... Yes, you understand. So let's get our other specimen here. Now this is Jawbone. He's a good friend of mine. And I miss him dearly. He was a very smart guy and used his brain a lot, but cracked the egg open, and as we pop it, yes! And there is our brain. That is the brain. That is the true life meaning of thinking. Right here, as you look, this side controls over here, this side controls there. And then, of course, if we pull it off, we can see the cranium and all the delicious other parts of the brain that are very useful to use as you do what you need to do. Because that's important to do that. It's a thinking thing that must be done properly. We also have a gentleman here, and I call him the Invisible Man. He is my little pal that talks to people when I'm not here, and he keeps an eye on the place. My medical center, you might call it, the medical center of the thinking power. And as we open up the shell of the Invisible Man, we see that our body is full. It is full of capacitating, delicious stuff that is used throughout our system that we call a body. And the main thing that makes all this work and conjunction is the computer that we have up here. This is our computer brain that is used to the fullest extent of thinking power, and that's what we are doing today. So when you hear the word thinking power, remember that it takes a special system that you have to create in your... Excuse me, please. Okay, there we go. Yes, I know, it's great, isn't it? You have to create that thinking power to use, and to use it properly, so you can do what you have to do to stumble over the obstacle that, well, like my friend Pete has ran into, and he has used his thinking power brain, his cap, you might say, his noggin, and has found out the solutions. One more time, sorry, There we go. So take it from Dr. Dildo. And remember, use your brain. And don't be a smart ass or otherwise. This is Dr. Dildo. I hope that I have taught you a lesson in brain thinking. Okay, not this brain here, or this brain, this brain, okay, do you see? So don't be a salad head or a fruit basket. Okay, this brain right here would actually be a good consumption if you eat it. That would make your body very, very energetic, you might say, but we're not talking about nutrition today. We're talking about brain power. So this is Dr. Dildo, and I'm going to let you go with that. And always remember, use your brain to the fullest capacity to figure out and to fix the problems that you run into. Just like that, right there. Thank you, and have a good day. And hopefully, you have learned something from this lesson we call brain power, or thinking power. Ooh.
All right, there you go. Dr. Dildo explained to you that if you use your brain properly, you won't be a fucking salad head. And if you use your brain properly, you too can figure out what the fuck's going on here. By using my brain and thinking like Dr. Dildo tells us to do, I can go ahead and take that jack and I can put it on the outside to release all of the weight off of our front end, and we're ready to go ahead and start jigging it up and getting her done. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, with Dr. Dildo watching my back and hoping he doesn't stick it in my fucking ass. We'll see you later, and keep up to date when we get back. Jig time is here. See you later.
For watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.